Now, your hosts, Vicki Hyman and Erin Medley.
Hello, and welcome to Remote Possibilities. I almost said Remote Podcast because you know that's our Twitter handle.
That is our Twitter handle.
Podcast. Yes. I am Erin Medley here with Vicki Hyman. We are your hosts for this, next 40 minutes. Stick with us. We have a lot of good things to talk about this week. A lot of TV on right now.
Really?
Yes. New shows, not just like what we've been used to. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at @E_Meds and at Vicki High, VICKIHY. On today's show, we're going to talk about The Bachelor, of course, The Americans, Feud, Betty and Joan, Shades of Blue, and just a bunch of other random items that we that we pick up. Vicki, I have to start today's podcast by talking about my favorite show, which returns tonight, Wednesday, on CBS, and that would be Survivor, a show that you do not understand.
I do not understand, and every time I have to write about it and I have to learn about, like, what is the goat again, it's very frustrating to me. I do not like having to recap this show. The goat isn't that one of the terms from Survivor? Am I thinking of a different farm animal?
Yes.
Okay, what is the farm animal?
I don't remember right now off the top of my head, but it's definitely not a goat.
It's a goat.
Is
like somebody's
greatest of all time.
No, somebody's gonna play a goat. It was that young kid from last season, who was from New Jersey, who was like, I'm not gonna be I thought it was goat. See, I don't understand Survivor. I don't understand the games. I just don't get it.
It's, first of all, best show ever. It airs its 500th episode tonight. 500 episodes of Survivor, and I've watched every single one, and you have to keep up because there is a Jersey guy.
Oh, no.
Yes, Tony. He won his
hold
season.
on, I am not going crazy. Origin of the Goat, Survivor history. I don't know, looking it up right now. Hold on. Tell me. Not so fast.
I don't remember such terminology.
During every season of Survivor, there will come a point when players and fans begin discussing which of the remaining players are goats. The goat refers to a player with a highly unlikely chance of winning. Who they've taken to the final tribal council should be easily beatable due to the way they played. There we go. I'm not crazy. There are goats on Survivor.
I can't agree that you're not crazy, but I will say that maybe that is a thing, and I don't remember. Normally we have Andrew Zuckerman, who is the in-house Survivor expert.
The one who explained the goat, what the goat was last year.
Well, maybe next week we'll have Andrew on to discuss the season premiere, which is called. This season is called Game Changers. They're bringing back players who have played the game before. And not only that, there are at least 3 players who have won the game before.
Oh, that's right. The Jersey City guy, Tony, the cop.
Yes, Tony the cop. He won the game before, but there's also Sandra. She's won the game twice. Like, she is a 2-time winner, and she's going for her 3rd shot. I'm very excited about this season. One of my favorites from last season's Millennials versus Gen X, which I thought was a stupid idea, is Michaela. She was such a good player. That's why she got voted out early. She's back. Zeke is back from that season. Ozzy, who is a fan favorite from a few seasons ago. It's going to be amazing, and I can't wait to watch, as I am excited to watch every season of Survivor. And Vicki, you will not be watching.
I will. Well, I mean, I got to keep up with Tony, I guess. But yeah, no.
Fine. That's why. That's fine. We'll just bring in Andrew, and he'll talk about Survivor with me for like 10 minutes, and people will appreciate it.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Well, let's move on to some news. So this week, a lot of shows premiered for mid-season. It seems like really crazy. Don't you feel like at this point, like the networks are really trying hard to compete and keep up with the streaming networks? The broadcast networks are trying to keep up with streaming, because streaming networks drop new shows like every 5 minutes. And I feel like
I think that there seems to be more shows that are starting a little bit later in March, but I don't know if I don't know why. It does feel like there are a bunch of shows. We had Making History, we had Feud, we had Time After Time, Shades of Blue. Mm-hmm. We did have a bunch, and The Americans on Tuesday night.
Yeah, so let's get into some Sunday night ratings, which I'm going to tell you, These new shows, they have to do better because not doing so well. Making History had a 0.9 rating. I know, in the demo, but still, that's on Fox.
It is very much in the mold of The Last Man on Earth, also by Lord and Miller, and I still liked it. I enjoyed it, but it's not like The Last Man on Earth was doing all that well, and it still got picked up. So,
true.
Maybe Sunday night for Fox is what a lot of other shows are for other networks on Friday nights. I don't know.
Maybe.
They don't expect it to be that competitive.
True. Also, Time After Time premiered on ABC, and that had a 0.6 rating.
Oh, that is bad.
So that's worse than Making History on Fox.
That is really bad.
Isn't that crazy? Wait, did you watch Time After Time? I know you love time travel.
I do love time travel, and it is based on one of my favorite movies of all time, the 1979 film Time After Time, that starred Malcolm McDowell and David Warner, who have far less defined abs than these stars of the current Time After Time. That did not make me want to watch this one anymore. I didn't think it. I mean, I came in thinking this is going to be terrible, and I didn't think it was as bad as I thought it was going to be. But that's not really,
That's not like a winning endorsement.
No, it's not. Not as terrible as I thought it was going to be. I thought it might find an audience, but that's really bad. Maybe Sunday nights are not the right time for it.
I agree. You know what? I think they should have put it on Monday nights in place of the other time travel show that just went off. What was it called?
Oh, I thought Timeless was on Tuesdays.
It was on Monday.
It was on Mondays. I never watched it on the actual day it was airing.
No, Timeless. I mean, The Voice is on now, so they can't. But I thought that it was more of like a Monday or like a midweek kind of show. It's definitely not a Sunday show.
No.
And they have it paired with what is the show? Once Upon a Time, which airs before it. Which I'm just like, that doesn't really make any sense to me. So other shows that premiered on Sunday: Shades of Blue with a 1.0 rating.
Wow. Okay.
With 5 million total viewers. Not that great. It wasn't on par with
in the single digits.
Season 1 premiere. Yes. It wasn't on par with the season 1 premiere of Shades of Blue, but it is on par with like the end of season 1 of Shades of Blue. So I guess it retained that audience. And another show that premiered last week in a big crossover event and then settled into its official Sunday time slot.
Chicago Dental.
You know what?
No, I'm sorry. It's Chicago Podiatry, right? Am I getting closer?
Closer. Chicago Justice. And out of the shows that we just mentioned, it had a 1.4 rating in the demo with 7 million viewers.
Of course it is, because a lot of comatose people watch TV on Sunday nights.
Excuse me. I love the Chicago shows. We know how I feel about them, except for Med. I can't get with the Med. But I love all of the other Chicago shows. And I like Justice. How can you not like Justice when Carl Weathers is like the lead?
I do like Carl Weathers, but I mean, do you think I watched it? I'm sorry.
No,
I did not watch it.
Of course not. Okay, and so moving on to Monday nights, The Voice is still like crazy popular. You like The Voice, don't you?
I like the concept of The Voice. I'm getting a little tired by it. I think they generally have higher talent and less. They do less foolishness than American Idol did, which I appreciate, especially in the early go rounds. So I find the early rounds pretty compelling. As opposed to American Idol.
Well, you're one of 12 million people that watch The Voice. And we're going to talk about The Bachelor in just a second. But The Bachelor, the first hour, because they did break it up. The first hour, which was the end of the fantasy suite dates, pulled in 2.2 in the demo, and 7 million total viewers. But then the Women Tell All, which was on from 9 to 11. That is 2 hours of cackling. I can't. Did a 1.8 in the demo and then only 5.7 million total viewers, which means they lost like 1.5 million people.
I'm sure they lost people also like halfway in the middle of it because it's just too long.
It was way too long. Like they could have made the Women Tell All an hour. Mm-hmm. But we'll get there in a second. In other news, Vicki, I'll let you take this news story. Some sad news in the Real Housewives world.
Mm-hmm. Teresa Giudice's mother, Antonia Gorga, who was not a huge character on the show, but certainly had been seen many times, seemed like a lovely woman. She died suddenly at the age of 66. She is the second housewife's mother to die after, I'm sorry, parent to die after Joe Giudice's father, Frank, died a couple of years ago in the run up to the couple's sentencing on federal fraud charges. So, they had the funeral, I think it was yesterday, on Tuesday, and our condolences to go out to the Real Housewives family. Do have a heart. That's a terrible thing.
Yeah, well, yes, we've talked about losing parents on this show many times before, so you never want to hear that. And she was so young, and you mentioned she was battling an illness, right?
She had gone into the hospital for pneumonia and then didn't come out, and she was in there for like 3 months, and apparently Joe and Teresa were there like every day.
Right. Yeah. So it's so sad. Are they shooting right now?
I believe they are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll see this on the show. Unfortunately, nothing is private when you're a Real Housewife, I guess.
No.
All right. Well, taking a turn here, let's talk about The Bachelor, that 3-hour event that ABC suckered us all into, except for you because you forgot it was on. And then
I totally forgot it was on. I was like enjoying my Monday evening. I watched an advanced episode of The Americans. I cooked dinner. I mean, it was crazy. And then the next day, it's like, oh my God, I missed 3 hours of The Bachelor.
I mean, look, I will tell you this. So you guys know, please follow us on Twitter at Remote Podcast. We're going to be live tweeting more shows in real time. And so I was like, hey guys, I'll take The Bachelor, the 3-hour event extravaganza. Like, how hard could that be? After the first 45 minutes, I was over it. I was like, this is a waste of my time. I could be watching Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Like, the first hour was the end of the Rachel date, where the chemistry between Nick and Rachel is off the charts. They seem to be perfect for one another. She finally opens up to him, says, I'm falling in love with you. You're like, how does this not work out? Then he goes on the fantasy suite date with Vanessa.
I still have to look over to my notes. Like, what is her name again?
Yeah,
okay, yes,
Vanessa. I got it now. Our favorite non-French Canadian. She's Italian. And they have this weirdo date where they go into the ice bath and then they run into the sauna. I actually enjoyed
that. That was like the only part of the date that I enjoyed. I'm sorry, I don't know why. It's like I love being in a sauna. I cannot imagine having to. I enjoyed that, watching them go back and forth. I just liked it.
You don't think that went on too long?
No, I don't.
I can't.
I could have watched them do it all night long. It looked but you know why? Because they were being tortured. Because they were being tortured. We got to watch them being tortured for 20 minutes. It was great.
I couldn't deal. And she now has gone from that one episode where she stood up to Nick and confronted him about his relationship with Corinne to now where I find her to be one of the most irritating people left on the show. She's so needy. And as I said last week, there's something in her where she could be the crazy, jealous girlfriend. And then they had an entire conversation about compromise where she was like, well, I can't compromise on this. And then she goes, well, relationships are made of compromise. Also, she doesn't want to move from Canada. How is that going to work? And he doesn't want to move to Canada because he's a proud American.
The one thing I don't understand is that even though you said that Rachel and Nick have chemistry, you are wrong. They do not. My issue is, again, this is my first time watching it all the way through. I did not find that he really had forged any sort of like a real relationship with any of the women. And are we just supposed to believe this? So we're invested next week? Or is this a season where you think he's just going to walk away and not propose to anybody? Because I'm not feeling it with any of the ladies.
Okay. So I can give you that much. I don't think that he has the amount of chemistry with any of the women where I'm like, oh, they're going to get engaged and we'll probably get married. I completely agree with you there. And I do. So I'm on the fence. on one hand, I think he will choose Vanessa and they will get engaged. I'm using finger quotes here.
Mm-hmm.
They will get engaged. And then by the time we get to the after the rose, they'll be like just dating long term or like maybe not dating at all. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think it's going to work out with any of these women, no matter which one he chooses. And we already know it's not Rachel because she got sent home.
Well, I'm sorry. Can we go back to Raven? I mean, first of all, the whole I had orgasm was ridiculous. Okay, so this is my question. I'm watching it, and I shouldn't be thinking about it this hard. But okay, at that point, she probably thought, well, even if I don't get Nick, I might get to be the Bachelor, so I will agree to do this absolutely ridiculous
so embarrassing
montage. And it's like, I'm just looking into her eyes. I'm trying to see into her soul. Like, why are you doing this, woman? Why are you letting yourself belittle yourself like this? I was thinking about it way too hard.
I'm going to say it's age. She's very young, and I think she's a little naive. But to me, Raven is a caricature. I don't even see her as a real person. The fact that So last week we discussed how embarrassing it was that she went on national television to talk about how she's never had an orgasm, and that she beat her ex-boyfriend with a stiletto. And you just think, well, it can't get any worse than that. And then this week they do the orgasm montage.
Yeah. So, I mean, this only is the fact that, like, I really don't even think, you're right, I don't think of Raven as an actual person. So she's just I don't even know how she got this far. She's just a non-entity to me, and I don't really feel like I've already loved Vanessa. Is that her name?
That is her name.
So it just seems like I feel kind of like bummed out at the end of The Bachelor, my first season of The Bachelor. Like, it just seems like, although we get Rachel out of it, who I think is a nice, intelligent, cool person.
Yes, and speaking of people whose names we can't remember, the Women Tell All was on for 2 hours after the first hour, and there were people speaking, and like when they were doing the intros, I was like, "Who are you? Like, were you on this show?"
All those people in the background, I had no idea.
Like, and the second row. This is the second row. So we spent a lot of time during the Women Tell All on two central storylines. One being Liz, who we all know slept with Nick at Jade and Tanner's wedding. By the way, Jade and Tanner are having a baby.
Oh, mazel tov.
Just saw that, yes. So Liz gets called up to the stage and gives this, like, "We are women, hear us roar" speech that I was kind of like, shut up. Like, who cares?
Is she the one from Nebraska who's been, like, getting a lot of, like, bad feels from people back in Nebraska because maybe she slept with? I'm like, I couldn't even understand what was going on.
Correct.
I wanted to send a correspondent to Nebraska to get to the bottom of this.
This is when The Bachelor, like, takes it too far, where they try to, like, pretend there's some greater message. There's no greater message. It's women fighting over one man, or if it's The Bachelorette, a bunch of men fighting over one. Like, we don't need it to be any deeper than that. And I thought they were trying to make it so deep with Liz. And then when they brought up Corinne and Taylor to rehash that ridiculousness.
Oh, you mean Napgate?
Nap.
I'm sorry. My favorite line was Jasmine. "You're telling America you're taking a nap." Like, oh my God, it's not like she pooped on the flag, okay? She took a nap. Okay?
I would like to say kudos to Jasmine.
I'm defending Corinne here. I can't believe this.
I would like to say kudos to Jasmine for just riding that crazy wave right on through the Women Tell All.
All the way out there.
She just was going. I'm like, why are you even talking? You pretended to choke a man on TV. Like, she should have faded into the background, no?
No, she was doing what, I mean, like, I admire Jasmine, she's milking her chance for all it's worth.
How about Jasmine? I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I agree with you. I'm totally, I was totally on the Corinne train when she brought out the champagne in the middle of her fight with Taylor. I was all about it. How about when Nick came out and that one woman who I swear I'd never seen before, when she's like, "When we were on our date, all you did was talk about Josephine. Was that putting me in the friend zone?"
Yes, I did see that. I don't even know who that was.
Who was that?
I don't know. And he's like, dude, I'm talking to 30 women. I mean, like,
right. Also,
I can't believe they're making me feel bad for Nick now. It's like, what is going on, ABC?
Like, if you have to ask if you're in the friend zone, probably in the friend zone.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah,
well, now we're heading into our final week, Rose Lovers. We're down to Vanessa and Raven, two women whose relationships with Nick will not work out, whether it's next week or after the show finishes. Like, I think we all agree that Nick will be alone and he'll go on Dancing with the Stars and probably fall in love with one of the dancers, and that's how that's going to work out.
And I would be happy. That sounds lovely.
Correct.
I would root for that.
I agree. So next week we'll be back to talk about the Bachelor finale and after the final rose. Let's move on to a show that's a little less happy-go-lucky. That'd be The Americans and all of their Russian espionage.
And 15-minute scenes of digging ditches.
What are they doing?
Digging ditches.
Oh, digging.
What'd you think I said? What did you think I said? What did you think I said?
I'm not repeating it.
Digging ditches with a D.
Oh, no, I know it starts with a D. Okay, so anyway, we're on The Americans, and so it came back for, what are we in, season 6 or 5?
5.
Season 5.
Season 6.
Okay, the season 5 premiere. A show that I've loved from the beginning, but really in the last season and a half, I have no idea what's happening. I think at the end of season 4, or midway through season 4, Paige finds out that her parents are Russian operatives, and now we sort of pick up from there. Vicki, what I need you to explain to me about this season premiere, multiple things. Who's the young Asian man? Why are they pretending to be a flight attendant and a pilot? Okay. Who's Pasha or Pasha? Why are they digging a hole? And why is this person in a box in a hole?
Can I just tell you, one of the things that I love about this show is that they don't like bother recapping and saying, oh, if you missed this, they will just start from, wherever they're starting from. They always keep you off center, which I think is a wonderful thing for a show. So at the end of last season, so Paige found out, like, I can't remember, maybe it was end of the 3rd season. She's known her parents have been a spy for many episodes now.
Yes.
Are spies. So at the end of the last episode, William, who was, I think, an undercover, played by Dylan Baker, was like an undercover KGB agent who was working in biological weapons for the Americans, trying to smuggle out, I think, some sort of like horrible virus thing they were developing. He gets caught, basically, infects himself with the virus, dies, and gets buried at Fort Detrick. And so he's buried in the ground. And since they were since he'd made all this effort trying to get them this biological agent, they have to go in with their entire crew and dig out the body and basically get a slice of William so they can bring it back to Russia and figure out, like, sort of to, I guess, reverse engineer this biological agent. So that's what's going on with the ditch. And actually, when I was at TCA, they were talking about how you can't just have people build ditches. That was like $100,000 ditch. They spent $100,000 on negative space because it has to be safe. It has to be whatever. And it was like, the scene was like 10 minutes long, and most
it was very long.
I don't know if I mean, again, very bold thing to do. I don't think it necessarily needed to be that long, but you do get, I mean, it just brings home what they're willing to do for their country, and how just the lengths they're going, which also includes when one of the Hans, I think, gets stabbed and basically, I think, gets William's infected blood on him while they're trying to dig. He falls back into the hole, and then they break the silence, and Elizabeth is like, it's okay, don't worry about it, and then she shoots him. And this, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Hans is somebody who they've been working with for like a little while. So, they still
so
do their
that's
thing.
What happened.
Yes.
Because here's one of my criticisms of The Americans. Again, love the show. It's always dark. And I don't mean that metaphorically. Yes. I mean, like, it is actually dark. And so I can't see what's happening most of the time. And so in this whole digging the ditch scene, like I couldn't see the faces of the people. And I heard when he said whatever Hans said, and then I heard what Elizabeth said, and then I see him slump against the wall. Like I didn't know there was a gunshot there. So I was like, what just happened?
To be fair, I think she had a silencer on because
yes,
you're out
sure.
Dietrich.
But
that's what happened.
Okay.
So at the end of the last season, actually, you remember that their handlers were like, "Well, you can go now. You can retire because it could be that William's going to before William died, he's going to spill the beans on who you guys are, and you may have to get out of the country." And they left it with like, "Well, what's going to happen?" And then they start this new season, and everything is pretty much as it was. And they're still there. They're still travel agents. They're still spies. So it turns out that Pasha, who at first I was like, is that supposed to be
his son,
his illegitimate son?
Yeah.
But it's not.
No.
It's I think a family who had defected out of Russia. The father was like an agricultural dude who's very against Russia. He's working with the Americans now. I'm not exactly sure whether they're trying to get him on his side. I don't know why they're doing it, but there's this whole new elaborate ruse where they're flight attendants and they have apparently a Russian agent's son who is Vietnamese, or maybe he is from the eastern part of the Soviet bloc. And looks Asian, and he's posing as a Vietnamese adopted son and is trying to befriend Pasha and bring the two families together. I don't exactly know why that is, but that's basically what was happening.
Right. I think you're 100% right. I think the Americans, like the creators and the writers, really loved to just like drop you in the middle of a story. And they're like, look, figure it out. Yeah. They're like, we're not going to explain to you what's happening. And that's a problem for me. That's why I have you.
It may be a problem for you, but it's not a problem for me. I really enjoy it. I love puzzles. I love figuring things out. And that's why I hate all these procedural shows that you love so much, because it's like, oh my God. I was at my mom's last night. She was not feeling well. And of course, what did we watch? We watched Bull.
NCIS. I was like NCIS.
We watched Bull. And like Frank Whaley, 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 I can't remember how do you say his name. He was on it. He was a lawyer, and I'm like, okay, he did it. He was like, he just did it. And of course, at the end, I don't even know what he did because I wasn't paying attention. But I looked up at the end, and he's admitting to the crime. And I'm like, yep, okay. Can't stand shows.
But that's why procedurals are feel-good shows, because they yes, two reasons. One, they make me feel intelligent because I'm like, oh, guest star, that's the person who did it. And then at the end, my thoughts are validated because it's always the guest star. It's always the most familiar face. Like, let's be clear. And then two, nap shows. Like, I haven't had a good nap show since Doubt went off the air. Like, now what am I supposed to do? Like, I have to find another show.
It's only been a week since it went off the air, Erin.
I took a nap on Sunday.
Do you need your naps?
I do. I'm like Corinne. I need naps.
There's no shame in napping, just like Abraham Lincoln.
And babies. Yes. All right.
Somebody else mentioned, like The Rock. I don't know. It was like Abraham Lincoln and some other random person who napped. Okay,
it was
sorry.
Nonsensical. Like I can't even deal. That was a reference to The Bachelor for those of you that didn't pick it up. So the Americans. One of the scenes that I really enjoyed was when Paige told her mom that she was having these nightmares, and so she takes her into the garage and basically just starts like assaulting her. Yeah, and she's like, "You can't be afraid. You have to fight back." She shows her how to make a good fist, and I'm like, I want to see more of this. I want to see them turn prissy, church-going Paige into a spy.
I liked that scene too, and I also liked, it was not only that Paige has been viewing her parents differently, obviously finding out they're spies, and like, oh, they're not Americans, they're Russian, blah, blah, but it's also like, like, do they love me like a child, or am I just this person that they had to have in order to maintain this facade? And all these things are like coming together in her mind, like just totally rocking her world on so many different levels. And I think Holly Taylor's doing a really good job. A lot of people don't like her, and they're it's like teenage girl, like Brody's daughter in Homeland, just Dana, really super annoying. I think she's doing a great job.
And she's from Jersey.
Yeah.
So we support her.
Yes.
And then the last thing that we have to touch on with the Americans. So we did see, what's Matthew Rhys's character's name?
Elizabeth and Philip Jennings. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah. We did see Philip's son.
Yes.
The
who's making his
actual
who's making his way from Russia through Yugoslavia, which is a pretty tense scene. I liked it when he's going through passport control and everything.
Speaking of procedurals, I realized that his mother is played by the actress who's on Chicago PD, who just got elevated to detective. So there is a procedural connection on the Americans.
I'm not saying there aren't good actors in procedurals. I'm saying the material is terrible, but probably pays really well.
Whatever. Love my Chicagos. All right, let's talk about another show that premiered this week, a highly anticipated show from Ryan Murphy, Feud, Betty and Joan.
Oh my God, I love this show. I've watched the first episode 3 times.
What?
Okay, I watched it at they had a special screening at the TCA, and I think I was sitting next to the guy from the Washington Post who's like, I think I walked out of here like 19% gayer. And then they had another screening at TCA, and Ryan Murphy was sitting like 2 seats down from me, and he was there the whole time, which I was kind of amazed at, because God knows how many times he's watched this. And then I watched it again on Sunday night, even though I have access to more episodes. It's like I want to watch it, but I also want to savor it. I love it. I think that it is brilliantly acted, brilliantly produced.
Who does it star?
It stars Susan Sarandon at Betty Davis, and it's like, hello, with the eyes, of course. I mean, wonderful casting. And it stars Jessica Lange as Joan Crawford, both women who are actually older than the characters were at the time that this is being filmed, which was in the 60s, in the early 60s, when both women were in the 50s and they were basically being shunted out of Hollywood. The one thing I do not like about the show is that their theme is basically about the marginalization of older women, which is a very good theme and certainly, still resonates today. However, they hit it over the head like one too many times for me. And like, there are so many wonderful, delicious bits of dialogue, but when they have a lot of clunkers too, where they're just like restating the theme over and over again. I didn't like. But
maybe that's just in the premiere so that you get it, and then it won't carry through as heavy-handedly in the rest of the episodes. I can't say that I disliked it. I just don't. Maybe I wasn't really paying attention. I'll have to watch it again, so I'll watch it twice. But I did like how it looked. It's beautiful. Like the scenery, the costumes, the makeup, the hair, everything like really transports you back to that time. And so I really enjoyed that. I hated the Marilyn Monroe scene in the beginning. Like, what was that accent? I was like, was Marilyn Monroe not from, like, wasn't she American?
She was American.
Was happening?
I don't know. I mean, I can't answer that. It was a tiny little thing early in an episode. Can I tell you the other thing I really loved about the show is that it's also just about the power of acting and transforming yourself and being what you need to be in the moment. And you see it, especially with Jessica Lange, you see it when they're starting to feel this. I'm sorry, for anybody who's not watching, it's about the making of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and its aftermath, which is the only time these two legends starred together. And they'd had a bit of rivalry throughout, but they came together because this they thought was the one project that they could be in and it could restart their careers. And so it's about the making of the movie. And there's a scene where within the movie, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, is about a woman who is a former movie actress who is now basically living with her crazy sister, in their 50s, secluded in this Hollywood mansion and, going insane. And you see Jessica Lange as Joan Crawford, as the actress, watching her film. It's very meta, watching one of her old films and the way her face changes in the scene, and you see her acting, and it's just beautiful to behold. And then there's like other moments where she needs to get some perks out of her director, and you see like all the different ways she's trying to get at these perks. And again, it's like the acting, you're watching it happen, and it's just amazing. Amazing. I mean, like, Emmys all around, people.
Of course. I mean, Ryan Murphy at this point is not only a career saver, he is an Emmy winner maker.
Yes.
Right?
Major.
I mean,
yes.
100%. Who would have thought when he created the show Popular that this is where he would end up?
I know. I mean, it's just that you can see, like, I can't think of anybody else who's seen that kind of growth over time. Although there was also Scream Queen. So Okay, maybe not.
Yes.
2 steps forward, 1 step back. But yes, Feud is wonderful. I don't think it's quite as penetrating on a grand scale as the People versus O.J. Simpson, like telling so many stories, saying so many things about the way we live today. This is a more personal story with some resonant themes. But I love it.
I'm curious to see what the ratings are for it. Because I don't know. That was on Sunday, was it not?
On Sunday, yeah.
No, we should be able to find those. But I just don't know. I want to see if it resonates with the audience. I'm curious because, not a lot of younger people even know who these two actresses were. So it'll be interesting to see how well it performs. But we already know that FX picked up a season 2 of Feud. So.
And what is season 2 going to be about again? Oh, is it about Monica Lewinsky, or is that season 3? Season 2 is Charles and Diana, right?
Yes. Which I think is going to be
That should be good. That should be good.
Oh, that's going to be so good. But if it continues in the theme of the other anthology series from Ryan Murphy, we won't see that until like 2019. Who knows?
2050. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? All right. So another show that premiered its second season this week on that so packed Sunday night was Shades of Blue, everyone's favorite cop drama from producer and star Jennifer Lopez.
I'm laughing, but it's like one of those shows. I actually gave it a pretty good review. I watched the first maybe 3 episodes, but I knew I was not going to go back to that show.
Season 1, you watched.
Season 1, yeah. No, I did not watch season 2. I told you. Remember, I was like, "You're not going to make me watch that, right?" And you're like, "No."
Well, I watched the entire, like the whole season 1. I watched in all of its craziness, where Wozniak, played by
Ray Liotta,
it turned out to be a married man who's hooking up with his male internal affairs coworker. It's like he also pushes someone off of a parking garage in the first season. At the end
as
of the
one does.
It's at the end of the first season. J-Lo's character Harley, Harlee, kills her daughter's father. It was like any crazy thing that you could imagine happening. There's the FBI agent who hires a hooker who looks like Harley so he can sleep with her because he's slightly obsessed. It's insane.
Can I say that all sounds like it got much crazier than the first 3 episodes that I watched?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe I stopped watching it at the wrong time. Okay.
You did stop watching it at the wrong time. I will also say that this show, which is on Sunday nights on NBC, is not a Sunday night show. It is also on the wrong night. I could take it on a Thursday. I don't know if it would stand up to the TGIT shows, or even on a Friday, but I do not think it's a Sunday night show. So we'll see how that goes. But Vicki, since you did not watch the season 2 premiere, I have a little quiz for you. Are you ready?
Okay.
There are, now I have to count, 5 questions.
Okay.
So you're either going to win or lose.
What is winning? 3 questions?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, multiple choice. Now, as a refresher, I kind of almost gave you this answer. At the end of last season, where were we? A, Wozniak killed an internal affairs officer in self-defense and then had his body cremated. B, Woz turned himself into the feds to save Harley and the crew. C, Harley killed her baby daddy by breaking his neck. Or D, all of the above.
I know it's not all the above because Wozniak is not dead because Ray Liotta's back, right?
That's not what I said. I said Wozniak turns himself into the feds.
No,
in
the first
Wozniak kills an internal affairs officer.
Okay. But Wozniak is back because I think I've seen pictures of Ray Liotta.
Yes.
He's back for the second season. I'm going to say all of the above.
That is correct.
Yay. Well, I knew it had to be the baby daddy because you mentioned it. Thank you.
Did. All right. So 1 point for Vicki. Second question. After killing her baby daddy, what does Harley do with his body? A, wraps it in a shower curtain, drags it downstairs and tosses it in her car. B, calls her drug-dealing neighbor and threatens to arrest him if he doesn't help her dispose of the body. Or C, before she has time to do anything, her daughter walks in and Harley must convince her that it was an accident.
B. That's something that Harley would totally do is blackmail her drug-dealing neighbor, right? That is something she would do.
Of course, but no,
Okay.
instead, because this is very easy when you have a man who's like twice your size, you just wrap his body in a shower curtain and then you yourself carry it downstairs.
Oh,
and toss
really?
it in
I
your
thought you were telling
car.
me it was C. Oh, wow. A
No.
did not even occur to me. Okay.
I watched it and I was like, Harley must be like Superwoman. Who?
Well, she is. She's Jennifer Lopez.
This good point. I've seen the movie enough. All right, number 3. You're 1-1. I was like, what did I write? How does Waz go about framing a mob boss for assault? Does he A, start a fight with a random stranger and then blames it on the mob boss? B, walks up to a random stranger and punches him in the face, smearing his blood on a door handle? Or C, asks a random stranger to punch himself in the face and then calls it into dispatch?
It can't be C. It's going to have to be B.
That is correct.
Yay! Okay. I'm still in the game.
You're still in the game. The show's so ridiculous.
What do I win?
I don't know. Pride.
I win not having to watch the rest of
I
the
was going to say that is your reward. All right, 2-1, Vicki. Here's your fourth question. The actress who plays Wozniak's wife has been recast.
Oh.
So completely different actress. Season 1 to season 2.
I can't remember anyway. Okay.
Okay. How does the show tip its hat to this change? A, the new Mrs. Waz says she got a new wardrobe. B, the new Mrs. Waz says she has a new haircut. Or C, the new Mrs. Waz says she had a little work done on her neck.
C. B. It's B.
It is B.
Okay,
She said she got a new haircut because you know a haircut will totally change the way you look.
Erin.
As I know.
Erin, who cut off her long, luxurious locks and now has a short perm, right, Erin?
Of course. Of course. That's how that works. All right, Vicki, you're 2-2. So this is like the tiebreaker. We couldn't have had a better outcome. This is for all the marbles.
This was not planned.
Not planned at all. Final question. After texting her daughter, Christina, from her baby daddy's phone, how does Harley get rid of the evidence?
Is the evidence his dead body or the phone?
The evidence is the phone.
Okay.
A, she runs the phone over with her car. B, she breaks it in half and tosses it in the river. C, she tosses it down a sewage drain.
Okay, so when you say break it in half, I've seen people break things in half, but that's when they were flip phones. You can't break a smartphone in half, right? So I'm going to say A, runs it over with her car.
And
oh! I haven't watched Shades of Blue. No!
It was a flip phone. It was a flip phone.
Is this a period piece? Did it happen in 96? Is this Shades of Grey? Shades of Grey. Shades of Blue take place in 1996?
It was actually NYPD Blue. It was a flip phone. And she just broke it in half. I can
see that happen on NYPD Blue.
Oh my God. It was amazing. Again, Harley, feats of strength, that one. Feats of strength. So you lost this Shades of Blue quiz.
Don't make me watch it. Please don't make me watch it. Please.
I won't make you watch it, but I will continue to watch for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I just find it so ridiculously fun and entertaining in the worst way possible.
I think it's going to get one more season after this? Just based on this is going to be it?
I think this is going to be it. I think they put it in a place where it's probably going to die, which is Sunday nights after Chicago Justice. I mean, all right. Before we end the show, we have to remember one of the great shows in TV history. That would be Buffy the Vampire Slayer, celebrating its 20th anniversary this Friday. 20 years, Vicki. How old do you feel?
I feel very old, but to be fair, I didn't start watching it from the beginning, so somehow this makes me younger. I don't know how. I caught it
Somehow.
on Netflix. It makes me younger. I caught it
Somehow.
on Netflix. It makes me younger. So I don't feel as old. Because I didn't start watching it 20 years ago. I started watching it. I can tell you exactly when I started watching it.
Really?
I started watching it 15 years ago because I watched it after I gave birth to my son. And we didn't have any cable or anything at that point. And I was going crazy, with this baby and having nothing to do all day, being on maternity leave. And I was like, sign me up for Netflix, get me all the channels that are on cable. And that's how I got into Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Somebody recommended, oh, you should watch this. And I started watching from the beginning. It was so funny because I'm breastfeeding my son while watching it. And when their faces change, I would cover his eyes because it was so disturbing. I was like, no, don't watch that.
I'm disturbed by the image of you breastfeeding. Not that I am opposed to that, but I'm just saying.
I did it. Yeah. I mean, Buffy it's a show that I absolutely adore, and it was influential in so many ways. And I can think of so many like just individual lines from the show, and so many pieces of vocabulary, both like quotes that I still use to this day, like bored now, or parts of the show that in my TV writing, like I refer to like who's the big bad of this, they all come from Buffy, and it was so daring. And I think they could be because it was a genre show. There weren't so many eyeballs on it, and they could do things like have an all musical episode, which is probably one of my favorite episodes of all time.
Once More with Feeling.
Once More with Feeling. I mean, his penis got diseases from the Chumash tribe. I mean, it's just classic. It's absolute classic. I love this show so much, but whenever my TV watching club and I have to start coming up with a new show and we always talk about Buffy, I always say no, because Buffy, the first season, second season a little bit, maybe the fourth season, not a lot of not so good episodes in there.
Yes. Not every episode of Buffy was great. And that first season was completely different than the rest of the seasons. Because the first season was all the episodes were self-contained. Mm-hmm. There was no through storyline.
There was a little bit with the master.
A little bit.
Yeah, but it was it's tough when when you can watch the whole thing. There are definitely episodes early going, especially, that you're just like, this is not so good. But then it got great. But I'm a completist, and I always feel everybody should watch everything. So yeah.
Well, happy Buffyversary.
Thank you.
That's going to do it. That's going to do it for this week's show. We do have some exciting news. Vicki and I are going to be guests on TV Times 3 podcast. We're recording it on Monday, so it will be live at some point next week. We'll let you guys know when on our Twitter account, which is at Remote Podcast. I'm at E_meds, and she is at Vicki High, VICKIHY. Until next week, we'll be watching TV. Talk to you guys then.